Have you ever eaten monkey bread? Maybe you have, but have you tried homemade monkey bread? Sure is delicious. Welcome back to the Cozy Cottage Homestead. Five little monkeys jumping in the bed. One jumped out and bumped his head. Mama called the doctor, and the doctor said, monkeys shouldn't be jumping in the bed. Four little monkeys jumping in the bed. One jumped out and bumped his head. Mama called the doctor, and the doctor said, monkeys should not be jumping in the bed. Then there were three monkeys jumping in the bed. Then there were two monkeys jumping in the bed. And then there was one monkey jumping in the bed. The last one jumped out and bumped his head. Mama called the doctor, and the doctor said, it sure is time to put those monkeys to bed. Daddy came home from work that same evening. Mama told Daddy that the monkeys were jumping in the bed and they all fell out and bumped their head. Daddy said, oh well, I guess that's what they get for jumping in the bed. So Mama called Ma Becca and said what the doctor said and that Daddy said that's what they get for jumping in the bed. Ma said, that's all right, they're probably just bored. Let's make some monkey bread. We'll give them a big glass of milk and they'll be sure to go straight to bed. Stay tuned, we'll be making some monkey bread, not using it from the Wop can biscuits. Homemade monkey bread. Stay tuned. Welcome back to the Cozy Cottage Homestead. Today we're going to be making homemade monkey bread. In case you were wondering in the intro, what's a Wop biscuit? People in the South have called the canned biscuits a Wop biscuit because you unwrap it and you whop it on the countertop and then it pops open. But as a teenager, I think I was a preteen, one of my aunts introduced me to monkey bread, and I believe that was Aunt Rhonda. She's the youngest aunt of the four daughters. So it was easy for us as preteens and teenagers to open a can of the canned biscuits and make the monkey bread. So today we're going to make monkey bread homemade. So I have just a plain, simple biscuit mix. I have 2 cups of flour, 1 tablespoon of baking powder, 1 teaspoon of salt, a half a stick of butter, and about 4 tablespoons of coconut oil that is hard because it's cold, which will work perfect in place of sharpening so that it'll be just a little bit healthier. So we're just going to use our pastry cutter and we're going to cut it in, the butter, into the flour. So the first thing we're going to do is make our biscuits. And of course my dog decides she wants to drink some water right now. So you'll have to excuse me. This is real life. There's no way I can edit it out of her drinking the water. Pretty cute, that's enough, huh? That's a good girl. You finished? These things are pretty sharp, so you have to be careful that you don't cut your fingers. You just want to cut the butter or shortening. In my case, this is the butter and the coconut oil that is solid to where it kind of looks crumbly. And you could use 2 knives. I've always liked to use the pastry knife. It seems to be, it works really good. Now, to me, it's a lot faster. And this is one of my new Christmas gifts. It's got a red handle on it. My other one was getting kind of flimsy. Alright, now what we have here is 1 cup of milk. This is powdered milk. I'm And we're going to add 1½ teaspoons of the homemade vanilla to the milk. And give that a stir. Alright. Now what we're going to do is pour this into our flour mixture. I like to start it with my spoon. Let me go ahead and move some of this out the way. And then after I get it going with my spoon, then I'm going to go ahead and roll it out on the counter. And we'll work on the next step. And with the biscuit dough, if you want a fluffier biscuit, frugal tip, if you want a fluffier biscuit, don't overwork your batter for your biscuits, your dough. Alright, now we're going to flour our surface. I always get a little more than what I need just to make sure I have plenty. And depending on the moisture of your biscuits, sometimes it could be a little moister, sometimes it can be a little drier. Sometimes you may have to add a little more flour to it, which is simple to do. You just work it in the dough whenever you roll it out. Okay, go ahead and get my hands floured up and get this dough out so y'all can see what it's looking like. Just roll it out. Don't really want to waste anything. Now is not the time to be wasting anything. I've never been a wasteful person, but now is definitely not the time to waste. Off my fingers. And you're just going to lightly knead it. You don't need to overwork it, just so that it's not so sticky that you can work with it. Not like making bread where you have to knead it a long time. You do want to knead it a little bit just to mix it up to where it comes together, and see now it's not quite so sticky. Okay, go ahead and flour our rolling pin. It might stick a little bit right at first. A little bit on there will help. And you just want to roll it out to the same thickness you would if you were rolling out biscuits, which is just under a ½ inch or so. So that looks pretty good. Make sure my ends are all flat too. Alright, I think we're done with this. Right now, the best way that I found to do it, since we're not actually making biscuits, we're making monkey bread. And whenever you make monkey bread from the canned biscuits, you still have to cut them up into smaller pieces. So the easiest way that I found to do that is to use a pizza cutter. I have a cast iron skillet, oiled, ready to go. So all I'm going to do is cut a bunch of little squares into my dough. Kind of tic-tac-toe it up. I know y'all know that I have grandchildren, so I want to make it fun for them sometimes, because this is like a journal of my life since they moved further away. I am excited though. I'm going to be going to see them pretty soon, and that's just so exciting to get to go see them and bring them their Christmas presents, to spend some time with them. So that's very exciting. Gives me something really fun to look forward to. Alright, so now you're just going to grab all these little pieces. This is why it's fun to let kids help you make monkey bread. There's no way you can mess it up. You just throw it in the pan. Kind of spread it around evenly. And of course, if you want to make the wok biscuits, you could just skip this part. But once you've had the homemade, It's kind of hard to go back. And I guess you would say these are going to be, like these are a little bit long. I'm just pinching them in half and throwing them in there. Any way you want to throw them in there. And I did lightly grease my iron skillet. This is a 10-inch skillet. It would also work with a 12-inch, just whatever you have, or just a baking dish. Go ahead and turn my oven on to 400. Because it's a gas and it does take a minute to preheat. So I put the vanilla in the milk to add to the dough, so that the dough would have a little bit more of a sweet donut pastry kind of texture and flavor. It really does. I mean, you could do it without it, but once you put that little extra in that milk, that vanilla, it just gives the monkey bread just a richer flavor that's just really good. And speaking of monkeys jumping into bed, last night I went to get my cell phone. I got a text, and my watch was across the cord. And whenever I grabbed my phone, my watch flung back behind the bed. And of course, it's a wood headboard that goes from the floor to the real tall four-corner poster bed. And I couldn't get my watch. And my husband's like, just reach underneath there and get it. Well, I couldn't because it's behind another board. And then when I reached underneath there, I seen a whole bunch of dust bunnies looking at me. So I'm like, I can't just grab my watch and pretend like I don't see all those dust bunnies. So, of course, now I got another project to do. One of those things that probably nobody but myself would even think to even pay the dust bunnies. Whoops, my knife fell. The dust bunnies under the bed. But as my sister would say, leave it to Beaver, because she calls me Beaver, because my name's Rebecca. I can't just dig my watch out and not clean underneath the bed, so I have to feel like getting underneath there and cleaning it out. But that's life. Okay, so we have all the biscuit chopped up and put in our cast iron skillet. Now we're going to use about, and this is optional, the raisins and pecans, but for me it's more of a grown-up kind of monkey bread. So I have a half a cup of pecans, and I have my little dainty chopper. I'm just going to give them a chop, and we're just going to toss those right on top. I got dust in my throat or something. Sorry, y'all. Our weather has been so crazy. We had all the freezing cold, rain, ice like everyone else had. Besides, we didn't have the snow, down in the low teens, which was really cold for us here in the South. And then we went back up to the 70s, and now we're back to the upper 50s. And it's rainy and yucky. We've been trying to make sure we drink our herbal tea and stay healthy, stay well, keep our immune systems really, really strong. Because we've already heard all the stuff's coming back around again. So when that happens, we put the brakes on, start staying home more, don't go out as much. Try not to be around crowded people, big crowds of people. No, thank goodness, my arm was about to give out on me. Alright, so we're just going to sprinkle these around in here. I did a half a cup, but if a fourth, yeah, I think about 1/4 of a cup is going to give you plenty. So that's good. Got some chopped nuts for something else. Alright, and I have one of these little boxes of raisins. I did grab 2 just to see, but I think we'll see what that looks like, if it looks like it's enough or not. This is how I cook, y'all. I don't really follow recipes. So I have been challenging myself through all these collaborations and just some of my cooking videos. and to share with y'all and my grandkids because I don't always have recipes. Okay, so one box ended up looking right, so we just did one box. Now we're going to get about a half a stick of butter and just kind of break it up all over, however you can do it. And it's going to melt all that stuff down together and it's going to taste delicious. This is great for breakfast, like on the weekends when the kids are home. It's a good breakfast, quick and easy, feed the whole family. Cook up some breakfast sausage or something to go with it, some scrambled eggs, or even just for what we call a midnight snack. You just want something kind of sweet, but you don't know what you want, this will probably do it for you. Okay, so now I have 1/4 of a cup of sugar and 2 teaspoons of cinnamon. Just mix it up with a fork. I usually have a container of this that I keep on hand just for different types of recipes, to sprinkle it on different things. And you're just going to sprinkle it all around as evenly as you can get it on the top. And if this is too much sugar for you, then just put a little less. And see, I still have a pretty good bit left, and I feel like that's plenty enough sugar. So it probably used a little less than 1/4 of a cup, maybe 1/8 of a cup. Alright, I'll bring this a little closer so y'all can see what it looks like. Okay, I'm going to put this in the oven at 350 degrees. No, excuse me, at 400 degrees for about 12 to 15 minutes. And I'll have to check it at 12, and then I'll see if it's ready or not, and I'll bring y'all back to show y'all how delicious it is. Alright folks, the homemade monkey bread just came out the oven. It's extremely hot still. It took about 18 minutes, I guess, using the homemade biscuits and it being really thick. It's extremely hot, so I don't think I'm going to give it a taste test right this second. I'm trying to get this video finished up. We have some bad weather coming in. I don't know if we'll lose power or not, so I'm going to go ahead and end the video pretty soon. And I want to talk real quick about jumping in the bed. Monkeys jumping in the bed. Kids jumping in the bed. I'd love to know in the comments below if any of y'all have ever jumped in the bed. Now I know as kids we all probably have jumped in the bed. But I will have another question. Have you ever gone to a hotel room on vacation and you told your kids, don't jump in the bed, don't jump in the bed? Well, my parents are so silly. We get on vacation and they tell us, y'all can jump in the bed because it's not our bed. I didn't have to pay for it. I didn't have to buy it. Well, that was the good old days. Now, if anything's damaged in the room, in the hotel room, they're going to add it to your charge card account and make you pay for it. But I was just thinking of all the times that we jumped in the bed through the years, and then I even let my son jump in the bed when we were on vacation and the foster kids. I don't never remember any of them jumping off the bed and bumping their head, which wouldn't have been such a great idea on vacation out of town trying to find a doctor because your child was jumping in the bed and fell and bumped his head, or maybe even broke an arm, who knows. But anyway, so to my grandbabies, listen to your mama and listen to your daddy and do what the doctor says, because you might fall off the bed and bump your little head. So that's it for today, folks. Farewell, Homestead family, friends, and neighbors from the Cozy Cottage Homestead. Welcome back to the Cozy Cottage Homestead. 5 little monkeys. 5 little monkeys jumping in the bed. One fell out and bumped his head. Mama called the doctor, and the doctor said, why am I drawing a blank?